For the thick bar bench press, we're going to begin by setting up the barbell. Now, some gyms or your home gym, you may have access to an axle bar like this. This is a chrome-plated one. This is the one they actually use in the strongman competitions. And it's conventionally, these don't have any kind of knurling like a regular barbell. And they also don't have collars that spin. It's just a fixed position barbell. Some gyms use what they call an axle, where it's basically a 2-inch outer diameter pipe, and that's okay too. But just make sure you know where the center of the bar is. This one actually has notches for the center and another 2 rings of notches on the outside to kind of give you a gauge for where your hands are at. It's going to be really important when you set up. Most thick bars are going to be around 2 inches. Conventional barbell is about 1.25 inches. So with this one, about 2 inches. Some go as big as 3 or even, I think 4, maybe just 3, I don't know. 3 inches. If you don't have access to one of these guys, you can utilize fat grips, which you can put on pretty much any regular barbell. But the key with these is going to be where you position the gap. You have to have the gap in order to put them on the barbell. When you're using it with the barbell, make sure the gap is facing up so that the non-gap part is actually in your hand. Because if the gap is facing down and you start pushing some weight and it slips out, that's just it's gonna be a disaster because you're not gonna expect it. It'll slip out and it won't be too fun trying to clean that up. But these are very usable. I've used them many times before with bench press, before we had an axle bar. When you set up and you lay flat on your back and you extend your arms, the barbell should be about the height of your wrists. Okay, so my wrists fully extended, about that height. If you don't have a position on your rack that's exactly that height, then I would recommend going a little bit lower. That's better than going too high and not being able to unrack or re-rack the barbell. Next, you're gonna center yourself on that barbell. I got my center notches right here, so I know exactly where I'm at. And as you look up at the barbell, it should be blocking your vision to the ceiling. In other words, you shouldn't be behind it or in front of it, but right underneath it. And then before we touch that barbell, we're actually going to set up our feet. I'm going to hike my heels back as far as I can until right before my heels start coming up off the ground. I don't want my heels up off the ground. I want a nice, firm, flat position because we're going to be pushing a lot off of our feet for pretty much any bench press variation. Now I'm going to establish my hand grip. My hands, for me, I prefer about a shoulder width grip. Some people prefer to go a little bit wider. Just make sure both hands are equal distance from the center of the bar. Wrap the thumb and fingers around. Establish that firm grip. Taking a deep belly breath. Unrack. Bring it out in front of the chest with the arms fully extended. Let the shoulder blades sink back. Keeping the elbows pointed forward and the biceps pointed towards your face. Taking your belly breath. Lower it under control till just above the chest or barely touching the chest, and then drive through. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, after you establish that grip, you're going to want to bend the barbell. Obviously, we can't really bend it because of the material it's built out of, but when you bend it forward, you're externally rotating your shoulders and you're engaging your upper back. You're making that connection from your arms to your upper back, and the upper back is going to be the platform off of which you push this weight from your chest. So again, establish my feet centered on the bar, directly underneath the bar, thumb and fingers wrapped around, establish that grip, belly breath, unrack, bend the barbell forwards, belly breath, shoulder blades back, lower under control, and drive through. Re-rack. Something of note is that when you're writing down the weight you're using, make sure you know how much the bar weighs. If your gym or facility just uses a regular pipe, they can weigh as little as 15 to 20 pounds. So don't count it as a regular barbell. This guy right here only weighs 33 pounds. So have to keep that in mind. I didn't just gain a whole bunch of super strength overnight and I'm lifting 10 or 20 more pounds than I normally do. It's because that barbell is lighter. So make sure you pay attention to that. But that's how you do a thick bar or an axle bar bench press.